Hello Magic Gathering players, this is Maelstrom MTG, and I have a quick and sad announcement to make, and it's that at the beginning of trying to record these videos, to start up this channel, to kind of like give it the good old college try, as I've heard some people call it, the good old effort, the try to like actually do stuff on YouTube. I've tried to like make a goal for myself to publish a video every day, and I published a video that actually didn't have audio, and so it got messed up, and so that kind of got deleted, and I never got a chance to redo it. And also I missed a video yesterday, and I'm going to be honest, it's been fairly difficult to manage my school life as well as trying to test and build all these decks, because it honestly does take more than just the recording of the video. It requires me to build the deck, and I test it several times before I actually build it, well, before I do the video. So from now on, I won't be able to publish a video every day. I will be trying to publish as often as I can, but my education is going to come first, and my sanity. But we do have this deck here, which I did put a little bit of time into yesterday, but yesterday was very stressful for me. So I hope all of you out there can understand not doing a video every day. But today we are actually going to be doing something new, and it's going to be able to open up a lot more. Like, it's going to open the channel to a lot more, because I've done a lot of videos already on decks that you can get for under $100, and I want to kind of like move on, and I want to say, okay, but some people have the budget of like $300, and they consider that budget. Now, I wouldn't call that budget, but I'm going to say Modern on a bigger budget is going to be $200 or less, and it's going to open up some other archetypes. For example, Tron. Now, this version of Tron that we have here today, which is Mono Red Tron, is not at all a traditional Tron deck. And honestly, if you're trying to get into Tron, probably not this one, but I expect to be doing a few different Tron archetypes, because $200 as a budget makes it a lot easier to build a deck like Tron. So if you want, I can toss out some other decks that happen to be $100 in the future. I honestly expect Strixhaven to come out with a lot of those, but I'm going to be moving towards decks that are able to be $200 as a way to kind of like upgrade your lists that maybe you bought for $100, and that's how you can upgrade it with $100, or maybe just new archetypes that open up if you add $100 to your budget. Or maybe you buy a list and then you're like, oh, I really like this, I want to go further. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Red Tron, and it's a deck I love. Now, I don't know if you want to spend $200 on this deck, but the parts that make it $200 are worth it, because they're going to be in the other versions of the list. Now, we're going to start off with the purpose of the deck is to get Urza's Tower, Urza's Power Plant, and Urza's Mine on the battlefield if you don't know how Tron works. Now, Tron, if you have all three of those lands on the battlefield, you can have 7 mana by turn 3, because Tower produces 3 mana, Power Plant produces 2 mana, and Mine produces 2 mana, but only if you have all three of those out. Otherwise, they only add 1. Then we have Mountains, and then Field of Ruins, because Field of Ruins are good for getting rid of pesky lands. And I don't usually talk about lands first, but in a deck like this, it's important. Now, first up, on the non-land portion of the deck, we have Brash Taunter, which is 4 in a red, indestructible. When it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to target opponent, and then you can pay 3 mana, tap it, and it fights another target creature. Now, this is going to be a really good way for us to just like put a creature out that is like a mega blocker, but also a way for us to get extra value, and I really want to talk about it, particularly about damaging board wipes. Next up is Stuffy Tron, that says indestructible, same as Brash Taunter, but it has 5 generic mana, which means if we have our Tron lands by turn 3, we can play Stuffy Tron without needing the red source. And it has the same thing where if it's dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player, and then you can tap to deal 1 damage to itself. Combustible Gear Hulk is first strike 6/6, and when it enters the battlefield, you may have target opponent have you draw 3. Well, target opponent chooses if you draw 3 cards or mill 3 cards. If you mill the cards, they lose life equal to the total mana cost of those cards. And in a Tron deck, that is insane. And so that is a way that if they have it flip over, they're probably going to die. Wormcoil Engine is a Tron classic, and it's honestly, actually Beyond the Lands is the first real Tron card we're seeing, and it's a 6/6 for 6 Death Touch lifelink. When it dies, you create a 3/3 lifelink and a 3/3 Death Touch. It's a way like when it dies, you split it in 2. It's very, very good value, and if you want to upgrade this deck even further, maybe even add a second one of these. Then we have 2 Ugin the Spirit Dragons, and as you can see, the playset is $60, which is part of the reason why Tron gets opened up if you go to $200. It's going to be an 8-drop, so if we have a mana rock on our first 2 turns, and then our third turn play our 3rd Tron land, we can play Ugin on turn 3. And that is not that unexpected out of a deck like this. So it's going to +2, deal 3 damage to any target, -X, exile each permanent with a mana cost X or less, that's 1 or more colors. That's our most commonly used ability, probably, once he enters. And then -10, you gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanents from your hand onto the battlefield. This version is less permanent heavy, but still has them. It's really going to be focusing on the burn aspect of what we can do with this deck. Next up is Insane. I love this so much. This was actually one of the deck lists that I started off Modern with, and I did really well. And I remember seeing my description. I looked back on it to build this deck, and it said, "This is my first Tron deck I've built, and likely going to be my last." And it's really fun because Banefire deals it's X red, deal X damage to any target, and then I just need to make sure I wasn't muted on my headset accidentally. But then if X is 5 or more, it can't be countered and damage can't be prevented. That is insane little clause right there. So we can use all of that extra mana we're getting out of our power plant and tower and mine, all of our Tron lands, to be able to just wipe out our opponent. Then we have Lightning Bolts just as extra burn or removal. We have Blasphemous Act to cost 1 less for each creature on the battlefield. It does cost 8 in a red, but it's never going to be 8 in a red. And even if it is, we have Tron lands. And it's going to deal 13 damage to each creature. That is very powerful, and let me tell you why. Not only does it board wipe, but we have Stuffy Doll and Brash Taunter. And those cards are going to be able to, we have that out, then we cast Blasphemous Act, deal 13 damage to our creature, which in turn will deal 13 damage to our opponent. And so cards like Blasphemous Act are insane. And so, though I want more on the main board, I can't really tell you to run more, because you kind of just need spot removal in this current metagame, I feel. It's sped up a lot from the original time that I played this deck. Next up is Apex of Power. Apex of Power, it's a new card, and I love it. Apex of Power is 7 red, red, red. Exile top 7 cards of your deck. You can cast non-land cards exiled this way. If the spell was cast from your hand, which it will be, add 10 mana of any one color. So it replaces itself mana-wise, and it's going to give us a huge buff. Next up is Chromatic Sphere to add some card draw, but also as filtering. Same thing with Chromatic Star. Expedition Map to search for our Tron lands. Mind Stone for ramp as well as card draw, and Oblivion Stone as removal. Oblivion Stone is going to be able to turn into a potential board wipe, but it's just a very powerful card in general. Then we have our lands, and then we have our sideboard. And our sideboard is going to have Tormod's Crypt for Graveyard Hate, Lightning Bolt for extra burn or removal, a Braid for artifact destruction or removal, Fiery Cannonade if you do need more sweepers, and it will deal more damage. I do like my damage sweepers. And Leyline of Combustion because Ley Line of Combustion is going to be a great way for us to get extra damage in. Because you'll find in this deck that you might, in certain matchups, you'll get them to like 1 or 2 life, and then that might be your struggle. And the decks where that's against are going to be probably like Ley Line against like Burn, Jund, like a lot of decks that just target a lot of your things, or target you. High removal or high burn or high discard, all of those types of decks crumble to Ley Line of Combustion. Anyway, that's the list. Hopefully I can get some gameplay in. As you see, it's $195 on paper, but if you go online, it's even budget. It's $25 if you want to buy this on Magic Online. So try it out, let me know what you think, and I'll keep trying to make some. I'll try to make some good content for you guys, but it might take some more time. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you next time.